In a small town nestled in the rolling hills of the countryside, there lived a man named Thomas. Thomas was known throughout the town for his rough exterior and gruff demeanor. He rarely spoke to his neighbors and often kept to himself, leading many to believe he was a mean and unapproachable man. One day, a new family moved into the house next door to Thomas. The family consisted of a young couple, Mark and Sarah, and their two children, Emily and James. Mark and Sarah were friendly and outgoing, and quickly made friends with the other neighbors in the town. However, when they tried to introduce themselves to Thomas, he simply grunted in response and shut the door in their faces. Despite Thomas's unfriendly demeanor, Mark and Sarah were determined to break through his tough outer shell. They invited him over for dinner, but he declined. They tried to strike up a conversation when they saw him working in his yard, but he ignored them. It seemed that no matter what they did, Thomas was determined to keep his distance. Feeling defeated, Mark and Sarah decided to focus on getting to know the other neighbors in town. They soon found out that Thomas had a reputation for being a mean and grumpy old man, and many people avoided him at all costs. But Mark and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Thomas than meets the eye. One day, as Mark was walking home from work, he saw Thomas sitting on his front porch, staring off into the distance. Mark decided to take a chance and strike up a conversation. To his surprise, Thomas began to open up about his life. He told Mark about his wife, who had passed away years ago, and how much he missed her. He talked about his struggles with loneliness and depression, and how he felt like he had lost his purpose in life. As Mark listened to Thomas's story, he began to see him in a new light. He realized that Thomas's rough exterior was a defense mechanism, a way of keeping people at arm's length, so he wouldn't have to face the pain of losing his wife. Mark and Sarah invited Thomas over for dinner again, and this time he accepted. They spent the evening talking and laughing, and by the end of the night, Thomas had tears in his eyes. From that day on, Thomas became a regular fixture in Mark and Sarah's lives. He started to open up more to his other neighbors as well, and soon the town began to see him in a new light. People who had once avoided him now stopped by to say hello, and Thomas slowly began to come out of his shell. The story of Thomas taught the townspeople a valuable lesson about not judging a book by its cover. They realized that everyone has a story to tell, and sometimes the people who seem the grumpiest are the ones who need love and understanding the most. Thomas's transformation from a lonely old man to a beloved member of the community